The weekends are all about asking the experts so you can learn. That's right. Our telephone number is 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. You could text us at 21232, 21232. If you're unfamiliar with that technology, what you do is get out your smartphone, go to the messaging feature. On the messaging feature, it'll say contact at the top. Got one line there. Just put in the numbers 21232. It's that simple. You don't have to put in any names, any phone numbers. Just put in the computer code 21232, and then you've got about 140 characters, including spaces and punctuation. So make it brief, okay? If you have to send 2 or 3, we'll put it all together. Again, the telephone number is 855-297-9696. What's up this hour? Law 2020. Law 2020 is brought to you by your friends in the offices of the BCN Law Firm. You can reach them anytime. Know your attorneys, know your options at 855-LAW-2020, 855-529-2020. And, of course, BCN stands for Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos. And we just happen to have with us today Heath Nalos, one of the partners. And Heath, tell us your background and what you specialize in.
Hey, good morning, Central Florida. My background is insurance, ranging from personal injury to sinkholes to hail to fire. Anything in the insurance world I've covered in the past 20 years.
Okay, and if you have any questions about any legal matter today, not just those, but Heath has an all-around knowledge of the law because he's a lawyer, passed the bar, and he's got a lot of great associates in his offices, and the offices are in Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages. So tell us about the law firm. Who all do you have working with you?
Well, the important thing, we have a full-service law firm, not just myself or Mr. Boyette, Mr. Cummins. We have Brian Monk doing family law. Nancy DeVito is a 26-plus year litigation attorney. Eileen's a 15 to 20-year litigation attorney. We handle bankruptcy, real estate, probate, corporate. Almost anything on the legal spectrum, we can handle it. Wow.
And by way of explaining a little bit about the BCN Law Firm, I've been around Lake County since '78, so I know that Lake County and Central Florida was really led in its growth by Mr. Cummins. So you guys are no strangers to Central Florida or Central Florida courtrooms.
No, we've been there for a long time. My wife's actually an attorney with me, too, and her father's Mr. Cummins, Norm. And it's Norm's birthday this week, so we're going to do a party for him tonight.
Hey, happy birthday.
And he's been part of Central Florida for 40-plus years. My wife grew up in Leesburg. I grew up in Florida, too, in the West Coast, and moved here after law school and really have embraced Central Florida as my home and happy to be here.
One of the other things that you'll find with the BCN Law Firm, you'll see a lot of big mega advertisers out there and all that sort of thing, but you'll find the BCN Law Firm is a local firm. They've got a lot of background, and they're also so plugged into the community. Chances are, if you go to a fundraiser anywhere in Central Florida, the BCN Law Firm is either sponsoring it and or participating in it. A lot of participation.
Yes, last night I was at a fundraiser for the Educational Foundation of South Lake County. It's called Dancing with the Stars, and we sponsored the event again this year. And last year they asked me many times to actually be in the dancing. I was a star last year.
Right.
And thankfully I didn't come in first because I would have had to do it again this year.
Good.
So I fought a close battle and was happy to lose barely.
I remember last year when you were training for that. That is not an easy thing, is it?
Not for someone who can't dance, no.
All right.
It did raise $35,000 for charity.
And what do they do with that money for the kids?
It goes back to schools, help out the teachers, help out the kids.
Very good. All right, give us a call right now. We're in need of phone calls, and we've got 7 open lines if you have a legal question. 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696, or you could text us at 21232, 21232. Heath was on the show just a few weeks back, and he mentioned hail damage. And this summer, for the first time in years, it seems like that we've had hail once or twice a week for the past, 6 or 8 weeks. Usually, sometimes those afternoon thunder showers threaten hail, but this year we've had an inordinate amount of it. And one of our other experts, who shall remain nameless, heard you on the show. So he called one of our other experts, Universal Roofing. They came out, they made the phone calls, and he's got a brand new roof coming.
It's amazing. I think half my neighborhood has brand new roofs right now because if the hail is kind of a small event over a certain small radius, but if it's bad enough, it will damage your roof and really damage the integrity of your roof.
Is there any telltale signs? I mean, I'm not a roofer. Producer Chris isn't a roofer. Luis, the photographer, isn't. If we get some hail in our neighborhood, but the car was in the garage of the carport, so we can't look at that. Is there something we should look for on the roof that says, ooh, maybe there's some damage there?
Well, I don't want to recommend most of our listeners to get up on the roof unless they're able to. So I would call around for recommendation for a good roofing company and have them get up and inspect the roof. And the damage is, if the hail is severe enough where you see good-sized bits coming down, there's a good chance it's going to damage the roof.
Yeah, very good.
And some companies don't want to pay the roof claims. They deny the claim improperly. And that's where I step in to make them pay the claim.
So you can, in maybe not only just hail or sinkholes, but if somebody's having a difficult time with their insurance company and the insurance company says, no, we're just not going to pay this claim, they should call you, right?
Correct. Or even in a car accident case, it's a lot easier to have someone like me involved from the get-go. So I understand what the insurance companies want. I get the information to them, and I take away your phone calls from them.
Boy, that always helps. And again, we're all laymen here, and we don't really know all the nuances of insurance nor the law. So if you get a guy that's experienced like Heath, he's going to call them. You've probably talked to them before, as many years as you've been around here, and said, okay, guys, this is what's going on. All right, what are we doing in Joseph? Well, how can we help you?
Yes, sir. I went to a local hospital, and when I went to go inside, they asked me for ID. I showed them my ID, and they passed it through. They gave me a badge, and I said, listen, I don't want you keeping my information in any kind of database. And later on, when I returned, like about a year later, I go in and to visit somebody else. They ask me for my ID. I show it to them, and they give me an ID badge with the same image that they had taken with me about a year and a half ago when I told them not to keep my information. Do I have any rights in any case?
Unfortunately, Joseph, hospitals have to keep that information down for your medical records. So they've got to have that basic information from you to find out what's in your medical history.
No, it was just to visit someone. It was just to visit someone that was in the hospital.
Well, there's really no civil case there. You can't sue the hospital for keeping your information.
Okay, so repeat that before me, please.
There's no civil case here. You can't sue the hospital for keeping your image on the information there.
No?
No.
Even though I request for them not to maintain it?
There's no cause of action under Florida law that you can sue for under that factual scenario that I know of.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Good luck, sir.
In relation to that, there was a show that we did last year. I believe it was with Wade on look on your driver's license, Joseph, and see if there's a star in the upper right-hand corner. And that is your identification, facial recognition nationwide, right? Federal buildings, cruises, airports, hospitals. It's all there. All your information's there.
Correct. And the hospitals do keep your date of birth, social number. They've got to track you, and they've got a security duty to do that too.
Yeah. So, there's an awful lot of times in the future they say that gold star on the Florida driver's license will be the only ID that helps you get into the courthouse and things like that. Have you heard of that yet?
It probably will be eventually. It could be a national ID at some point too.
Yeah, there you go. I looked it up the other day on the web, and there's a lot of articles on it.
Yeah,
because a lot of states have gone to it.
It's kind of scary sometimes what's happening. But
really. All right, Mary in Orange County, we thank you for calling in and powering the show. For those of you that still want to call in, you don't have to use your real name. Your identity is not, we don't care about that. We just care about your question, because your question is probably something other people are worried about too. 855-297-9696. Mary, how can we help?
A friend of mine, she's in her 80s, had a member of the family come and visit her, and this was a couple months ago. And while he was here, she had to go to the hospital. Well, anyway, while she was in the hospital without her permission, and he admits he has done this, he took her jewelry when he went back home, and he has neglected to return it. She's called him repeatedly, and what recourse does she have? It contains some quite valuable jewelry that a sister of his told her where Mother had it stashed. and that's how he knew where it was. And she threatened to drive up there. He's out of state to get it. And he said, well, he didn't want her driving there, and he promised to deliver it to her within a couple of weeks. Well, then she called him, and he was too busy. He couldn't do it, and was very smart aleck about the whole thing.
First of all, Mary, that's a very tragic situation.
Yeah, especially when it's a family member.
Unfortunately, it happens a lot with family members, believe it or not, and it's just always tragic when one relative decides they're entitled to.
And I was just wondering what recourse she has, if any.
She's got lots of rights of recourse on this. It may take a lawsuit against him. It may take a letter from my office to scare him. But ultimately, it's her jewelry. And she's entitled to...
Well, you know, it's her wedding rings and the gold earrings, her everyday jewelry that she would like to be wearing.
And she's entitled to wear that. She's entitled to pass it down to whoever she wants to when that time comes. So he can't make the decision to keep it for himself now. That's not legal, so we can help her out. And I'd be happy to have a consultation with her by telephone or in person, or at the office in Winter Park or Claremont. But she definitely
Winter
has...
Park would probably be the closest. I can find it on the internet.
Okay, it's very easy to find. And just call my Claremont office on Monday, and we'll set something up with you. But that's definitely, she has rights here. And I just get mad when things like this happen because it's just not,
well,
not
I
the way it
think
should happen.
Florida is quite hard on anyone who mistreats senior citizens anyway.
Yeah, so we need to talk to her also about her estate plan and make sure her documents are in order too.
Well, she has everything in order,
Good,
I'm sure, and
but we can definitely help her out
everything
with
was
this.
fine, but it's a rather dysfunctional family. And
A lot of families are, unfortunately.
and I have tried to help her in various ways, and of course, she doesn't know what to do about this situation, so I'm trying to help her figure it.
In my own family, my step-great-grandfather was blind and lived in a trailer. We'd take care of him. And his son, who never saw him in 10 years, came down, was in the hospital, and cleaned out all his possessions pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just tragic.
Well, this son hadn't spoken for over a year, and then decided to come visit for Mother's Day, so you know how long ago it happened.
Yes, we can definitely help her out, ma'am, so please
All
call
right,
us.
well, thank you so much.
And my name is Heath, Heath.
Now, wait a minute, I want to write this down.
Okay.
Let me get a pencil here. It's Keith.
It's H, like a candy bar, Heathcliff, Heath.
It's H.
E-A-T-H.
E-A.
Like the Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff.
I'm not hearing you very well.
Okay.
Can you speak louder?
Yes, ma'am. It's H-E-A-T-H.
H-E-A-T-H.
That's it. Yes, ma'am.
And is that the first or the last name?
That's the first name. Last name is Nalos. N-A-I-L-O-S.
L-O-S?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He's Nalos.
I'm one of the partners, and I'll take care of
her. You what?
I'm one of the partners, and I'll take care of her, ma'am.
Oh, all right. And what is your phone number at Winter Park?
Well, just call my Claremont number on Monday, and I'll schedule things at Winter
call
Park.
the Claremont.
Yes.
What is that?
You can call 352
352
394
394
8550.
8550. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nalos.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
I hope that stuff isn't in a pawn shop someplace. You know what I mean? All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Michelle up in Seminole County. We have 6 open lines. We have some texts coming in, but you power the show. It's you that helps get the information out there to the public. So do your thing. Pick up your phone. Call us at 855-297-9696. If you're shy and you don't want to be on the phone, you can text us at 21232. We'll be back right here. This is Law 2020, powered by the BCN Law Firm. Here's 3 big things you need to know. And we're back. We've got a little under 4 minutes to go before news, traffic, and weather coming up bottom of the hour. We're watching the skies for you, and we're watching the roads. All right, let's go to Tom in Orlando. Tom, how can we help you? Tom, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, bud.
Well, I was wanting to find out. I had a hail and wind insurance claim on my roof denied, and I wanted to know if I think the paperwork that came back said I had like a 3-year window to actually, contest it or go to I never can think of that word. Like, not appeal it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you actually have a little longer window than that, but it's better to get on it sooner than later.
Okay.
And it seems some insurance companies tend to deny their roof claims more easily than others. So even though your neighbors may have had a covered claim, other companies may deny your claim that should be covered.
That's exactly what happened. A lot of my neighbors on the cul-de-sac got brand new roofs, but mine was denied, even though it was clearly visible damage. And even the adjuster used the wrong date on their response as far as like checking some kind of weather web page as far as what the weather was like that day. He even used the wrong year.
That's pretty bad. That's not surprising, but you should at least be in the right year. So we can definitely help you out with this case.
Okay, and I was wondering, since their response was so blatantly incorrect, would they cover my attorney's fees?
Yes, we haven't talked about that yet today, but under Florida law, if I file a lawsuit against a homeowner's insurance company and we prevail, they pay all my attorney's fees.
Great.
So it doesn't cost you a dime out of your pocket. It's the one area where you actually have the upper hand on the insurance companies because they don't want to pay my fees. And sometimes my fees over a $10,000 roof could be $60,000.
Okay.
So it puts pressure on them.
That's information that I think the common Joe doesn't even know about, so that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, so nothing out of your pocket, and we take it on contingency fee, meaning we get paid if we win. And if we win, the insurance companies pay me.
All right. Well, I've got the phone number for the Claremont office, but I'm actually more like in the UCF area. Should I call the Winter Park office?
I just call the Claremont office in the morning. That's where I'm at in the mornings. And then we'll talk to you, and we can meet down in Winter Park, probably the office there.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it.
Tom, I look forward to talking to you.
See, that's good. Tom had a question, and everybody in the audience learned something new today. Let's get Michelle, at least in the conference room here, on the phone. And, Michelle, let's talk to you. We may have to break for news, traffic, and weather in about a minute, but go ahead.
Hi. I got a call about several weeks ago from my brother who lives out of state. He stated that he had received a call from a company needing to find me regarding a very serious matter. I called the company because I did not know what this was about. And the company claims that there is a unpaid debt, actually on a phone bill from many years ago, actually belonged to my deceased father. But they were very clear that what the debt was, and now it had accrued unpaid penalties and fees.
Well, if it's over 5 years, Michelle, they can't sue you. The statute of limitations is over. So someone bought this debt cheap, and they're trying to collect on it. But they really can't come after you for it. Just write a letter back to them saying you dispute the debt.
Well, I never got a letter. I got a phone call. And I asked them to send me a certified letter, which I would respond to, and I've never received anything. So I'm hearing you basically say just kind of leave well enough alone.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Bye.
Good news there. 5 years. Okay. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Heath Nalos. This is all about the BCN Law Firm and about you. So give us a call right now at 855-297-9696. Hey, welcome back. Law 2020. That's right. Brought to you by the BCN Law Firm, BCN. Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos. Offices Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, the Villages. Let me give you a couple of phone numbers, and that would be 352-394-2103, 352-394-2103, 855-LAW-2020. That's 855-529-2020. BCNLawFirm.com for the website. And get this, you hear us referring to photographer Luis. Well, he has the show every week prepared and put onto YouTube, and all you need to do is go to YouTube, and up there in the search engine, just put in BCN Law Channel, BCN Law Channel. All right, Chris, we got some text as well as we want to invite people to call us at 855-297-9696. You never know when your question is going to help a lot of other people. 855-297-9696, and you don't have to use your real name. Chris, what do we got in the text?
We actually have two texts, both from the same person right here. The first one asking if there's a good website to find a child support, to determine a child support. And secondly, kind of on the same tree limb there. If they buy a house before I divorce my wife, and my wife already has a house in her name, is that a problem, or can I keep my house?
Two good questions. The first one is, I don't know of any websites that offer accurate child support guidelines. We pay for software that gives us the accurate numbers. Some of the different programs are kind of garbage in, garbage out. So you really need to know what you're putting in there and how to work the programs to get the accurate numbers. So it would pay off to get an attorney to help you out. If you do it by yourself, you can get a wildly different range of numbers sometimes. Second question is equally good. You should not buy a house until you get divorced, because your spouse will be on the house and you have to deal with that in the divorce. There's no reason to buy it now. Her house could be prior property, prior to the marriage, and that's different. But if you buy one while you're married, she's going to be on the title documents. So by all means, wait until you get divorced first to buy the house.
Good advice. I'm telling you right now, every question you all ask is great. So both of those are from the same guy. So we're out of text. Go ahead and call us at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232, 21232. Wade was on a few weeks ago, and I want to get you back on this collection business, because there seem to be a whole lot of miscreants out there right now, starting companies, finding old debts or buying old debts that are way beyond the 5 years, and they're making calls and they're threatening people. I mean, out and out threatening people. Is there any recourse?
There is. First of all, for education purposes, these companies are buying debts for pennies in the dollar, and some of the debts could be 10 years old, a 10-year-old cable bill, a 10-year-old doctor bill, and they've been sold 3 or 4 times for nothing, and they go to a collection company and they scare you into agreeing to pay some money on the debt. And once you do that, you kind of reaffirm the debt, and the statute starts over again.
By way of explanation, am I right in saying that what you're telling us is the debt could be 7 years old and non-enforceable, but if Chris goes ahead and says, God, I'm tired of the guy calling me, I'm tired of being threatened, tired of my dinner being interrupted, so I'll call him and tell him I'll pay him $20 a week. He just admitted that debt is brand new, didn't he?
Correct. You create a new statute of limitations at that point, so now you're pretty much on the hook.
So, Chris, see what you've done? Don't do that anymore. He's our new producer. We can pick on him all
And if you do have a debt that you're obligated to pay and it's in a collection company, make sure you get everything in writing from them that the debt has been obligated, you fulfill the debt, and otherwise they may sell it again to somebody else 4 years down the road. And keep a copy of that letter forever.
Mm-hmm. How about a person telling that company, hey, I've got an attorney, do not ever call me again, call my attorney?
Correct.
Can they call you at your house?
No.
And is there a fine for that?
There is.
And how much?
I'm not sure the exact amount. I don't do that type of law, but there's a fine for that amount. It can be substantial. And the laws are protected to prevent harassment. And that's what it comes down to. These people in these call centers, they just call and call and call. Call your family, call your friends. I get calls at my house. People lived there years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know who they are. Why are you calling me?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that when Wade was on a few weeks ago, he mentioned a case that you all won, and that was these people kept being told, they were told once by a judge, no more contact with the person, and they kept putting door handlers on the door. Well, that's kind of, that's really bad. If somebody comes up to your door, they're a good friend. Yeah. They look on that, oh, there's a debt. But anyway,
that was one of the banks, and we actually wiped out that debt because the judge gave 3 chances.
Yeah,
and got fed up with these folks and just said, okay, you're done.
And Wade said the company had to pay so many dollars per door hanger that had been put there.
Correct, and they paid attorney's fees too as well. So.
Oh boy, there's the good guys coming out in the end. I'm telling you right now.
Well, you only have so many chances in life, and if the banks or people like that keep on acting like that, they need to get punished. And to do that, you need to get an attorney.
There you go. So have an attorney on your side, like the commercial says. Know your attorney, know your options. 855-LAW-2020. That is 855-529-2020. So the BCN law firm is right there to help people, and it's not always about heavy fees, right?
Correct. Our fees are reasonable, and we try to be part of the community. So most of my clients come back to me many times through the years for various legal matters. So trying to create a family firm and a family atmosphere. But people have lawyers for life. They come to us from anything from an estate plan to selling their house, God forbid a car accident. We want clients to come to us for years.
Let's get back to the caller, or the texter actually, that asked about the divorce situation. and going to the web. That reminds me of all of these new web claims that we can help you with this kind of law. We can help you with that kind of law. We can help you settle a case. Get this form from us, get that form from us. Isn't that kind of worrisome? I mean, how do they know they've got the answers for Florida?
It's very worrisome. Think about child support. If you go to the web and find some calculator out there, which I'm sure they're out there, and you find some number and you get it entered by the judge and you're paying or receiving that number, you realize later it's off. Then you have to hire an attorney to modify that number.
Oh.
And it gets more expensive than it should be versus having it done right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times those programs aren't accurate. You got to really know what you put in the programs to get the right number.
And Florida, about every 2 to 3 years, it seems like to me, is changing those child, especially divorces where children are concerned. You got your time sharing now, you got all the rest of that. I mean, it's changed a lot over the past 5-6 years.
It's changed a lot in the past 5 years. Now on child support, on visitation, it used to be a primary parent. Now it's almost 50-50 usually. I mean, if you're in the same geographic area, the mother has them half time, the father has half time. So child support's gone down tremendously because the mother's not 80% anymore. It's 80-20. Now it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those change constantly.
And along the way, we get a lot of calls at this station. I've been on the air here 31 years now, going on 32. And we get an awful lot of calls in legal shows, and on this show too, from people who went along and then sat down one day with the ex-spouse and says, well, conditions are different. Let Johnny spend the whole summer with you this summer because you're his baseball coach. Well, once you do that, shouldn't you run that through the court?
If it's only a part of the summer, probably not. But if one child moves in with one of the spouses full time in high school, yes, you should.
Mm-hmm.
You should eventually. And
there's always that rumor out there that once a child turns a certain age, that they automatically have rights in the court to say, I want to live with daddy.
That's a bit of a rumor. Once a child's a certain age, the child can testify in front of the judge if you go to a hearing. But the judges don't want to hear from a child that's too young. It's not, not age appropriate, really.
Well, yeah, I can just imagine where a lot of kids would go. They'd go with a parent who's not the disciplinarian.
But once the kid's 15, 16, they can testify in court of what they want on their behalf. But to get there in front of a judge is going to be an expensive process. But it's better to get it done right the first time and try to get everything worked out.
And spousal support, still a big deal in Florida, and they haven't changed it yet.
It's a big deal in Florida. Alimony's changed a little bit the last couple of years. It's changing again probably too. Now we do a marital settlement agreement, which basically outlines the terms of the visitation before you actually get divorced. It's all in writing for you.
Mm-hmm. So that's a way to go. Okay, we do have a text. Go ahead.
Along these same lines here with the marriage and divorce and whatnot, I've recently changed my jobs and my salary is now less than when my divorce judgment was finalized. What is the best way to go about a modification on alimony and of child support?
It would definitely be a modification if the change was substantial. A small change generally wouldn't be enough to justify it. But I would ask you call my office, ask for Brian Monk, my family law attorney, and he can talk to you in full detail about that. But if your wages are substantially less than they were, you can modify child support. Alimony is sometimes non-modifiable depending on the divorce decree. So we need to see a copy of that also.
All right, very good. You have a question, you can text us at 21232, or you can call us on the phone at 855-297-9696. We'll be right back right after a break. All right, we've got 7 minutes to go right before the top of the hour. That will bring us another Ask the Expert show coming up at 1 o'clock. All right, let's open up the phone lines at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696, or text us at 21232, kind of a follow-up to a conversation we had about 10 minutes ago on the show, was our first text.
We've got this one right here. It says, I live here in Orlando, and I would like to make get a simple will. Can I use an online form for that, and what would be a good place to get that?
First, you can use an online form, but I would not recommend it. You really don't know what you're getting. Our wills are very reasonable, and there's more to just a will than a will. You need the medical power of attorney. You need to find out what exactly you're signing, and God forbid something happens, you're going to need a probate attorney down the road, so you're really better off speaking to an attorney about it, and our fees aren't that far off from the online services. And you get to speak with an attorney doing it 20-plus years.
The next text.
All right, the next text, it got cut off here, but we've got a student who's a victim of predatory loaning when it comes to the student loans. And now that the market is flooded with people with his degree or her degree and getting older, what can they do with the predatory loan?
I'm not I don't practice that area of law. Most student loans, though, there's not much you can do about it. They're backed by the federal government, and you can't discharge them in bankruptcy. And once you have the student loan debt, you're pretty much stuck with the debt.
You may want to, one of our other experts did a piece on this. You may want to look up Corinthian, and student loans on your Google because there is a federal lawsuit that has been filed on behalf of students against that particular group.
Yeah, some of these small colleges out here in the strip malls are offering degrees, and they're charging an arm and a leg for them via student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And the students graduate online a lot of times and come out and realize they can't get a job with it, but they've incurred $30,000 in debt.
And they got a free laptop, though.
They got their laptop, which is probably out of date by now. But
Yeah.
but the first thing these colleges do is they get you a student loan department. So you walk
Yep.
in, before you even enroll, they get you signed up on student loans, and next thing you know, you're getting $10,000-$15,000 a year, and you think it's golden and free money, and the reality is you can't get a job, and you got to pay this money back.
I tell you what, we had a similar question on another show, and the advice was very good. I think it was this show, as a matter of fact. And the advice was, this was to a kid that wanted to go to truck driving school. And the advice was, well, go to a truck driving firm first and ask them how they got their education. And, are there any job openings? What do I got to do to get a job here? And they might steer you to a better school, or at least one that's accredited, right?
Yeah, always. It makes a lot of sense. Go see a trucking company looking for employees and ask them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you find out what they want, then you make sure you get that training.
Let's go back to the wills and all the documents people really should have. And you mentioned the will, but also there was the power of attorney or doctors, or how does all that work?
A medical power of attorney in case. And there's several different power of attorneys you may need for your end-of-life planning. But it's always good to get those type of plans done ahead of time.
Yeah.
And stick them in your drawer and it's over and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But it's better than going online or going to one of the people on TV who will give you a form that's probably okay, but they don't explain it to you. You may not be able to fill it out properly, and it may end up being worthless when it's all said and done, not protect you.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was, don't you recommend that, like if I set my will up and I'm only 62, that every few years I come back with you and kind of go over it again, because beneficiaries can change?
Correct.
Conditions can change.
Life changes. Every 5 years, things have changed in our lives, and you come back to us. And a lot of folks come to us with a will they got online and want us to review it or modify it. For us, it's better just to give them our own will that we actually wrote, that we like and trust and know it's valid in the courts, than is to review someone else's will drawn up by someone on TV.
If somebody has a will in Missouri, does that transfer to Florida, or do they need to review it here for our laws?
No, our wills are state by state. So if you live in Missouri, have a will there, and move to Florida, you need to see a Florida attorney.
Yeah, because one of the things that comes to mind is a discussion you and I've had before, and that's in Florida, we've got the Homestead Act. Well, that can make a heck of a lot of difference on who stays in that house.
Correct.
No matter who you leave the house to.
A lot of variables. If the will is not done properly, then the judge decides who gets the assets based on the law. So you want to make sure you have some control over your estate. And
probate costs money, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And time.
And time is the thing. It does take time.
Yeah, I often tell people, I say, when you watch TV, Grandpa dies, then there's the funeral, and then there's the next scene is they're in court and everybody's distributing things. And I said, Heath and those guys at BCN tell me that can take a year. That can take 2 years.
It takes a long time. The courts don't move fast. They try to. But in probate, especially, you have to give notice to creditors. You have to go do a lot of things statutorily to get there. And it just takes months and months to actually finalize it. And even simple ones.
If you deal with a law firm like BCN, you're going to counsel them that along the way, if they die on a Wednesday and the ambulance had to knock down the door of the house to get to you, but you died, well, who's going to fix the door? Who's going to take care of the dog and the cat? Who's going to clean out the refrigerator, which I understand you guys have had to do before?
Correct. And also, there's a lot of ways to avoid probate, too, by setting up a trust. There's a lot of asset protection planning you can do ahead of time, estate planning you can do ahead of time. They'll make things easier down the road for everybody else. That's the goal, is to make your heirs and family make it easier on them when things happen.
Make it seamless.
Yes.
So to get a hold of you directly tomorrow morning, I'm sure a lot of people will want to. So how do they call you directly?
Just call me at the Claremont office at 352-394-8550. I have a Chamber of Commerce meeting at 7:30. I'm on the board there, the Lake County Chamber of Commerce, South Lake. So I'll be back to the office by 8:30.
Very good. And, of course, you can call the general office at 855-LAW-2020. As he said at the beginning of the show, there's like 11 attorneys there, and they cover all facets of the law, right?
Correct.
There you go. And that's 855-LAW-2020. Law translates to 529. BCN, Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos, bcnlawfirm.com. And you can watch the videos on the BCN Law channel on YouTube. So, once again, you got to make sure that you've got that. I always say on this show, get your attorney now. Get them all lined up, have an association, have their business cards. So when something comes up, you're not panicking. You simply call Heath, or you call Brian, or you call whoever you need, and just say, handle this, will you? I want to go golf. Heath, thanks for a great show, buddy.
My pleasure. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, coming up, the Talon Wealth Management people are in the house.